What's up everyone and welcome to another video. Before we start this video, if you are new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification by pressing the bell icon. A new year brings a fresh update to Android, and Google is working hard to prepare Android 11. The next version of Google's mobile operating system launches later this year, taking all Android phones and tablets out there with a host of new features. However, exactly what those features are is still evolving. We have only seen a few developer previews of Android 11, the first in February followed by a second release in March, indicating that many of the changes Google is talking about are targeted at device developers rather than its users. Here is all we know, including new features and availability about Android 11. Google released its first Android 11 developer preview on 19 February. That's way too early in terms of previous Android rollouts. Last year, Android Q's first beta launched on March 13. The release was of course a beta targeted at an audience that included both early adopters and developers. Google has clarified that this Android 11 developer preview is only targeted at app developers and not something users want to run on their everyday phone. We can expect additional developer previews of Android 11 in April, according to an Android 11 overview which Google posted on its developer site. A second developer preview came up on March 18, and Google is on track so far with development of Android 11. For Android 11, the first beta, probably intended for a wider audience, is currently scheduled for May. This would have coincided with Google I/O, the annual developer conference for Google, but this event was cancelled because of the coronavirus outbreak. Google had said it's going to get together online with its maker, but now the event is off too. We would also expect more information about Android 11 to come later in the spring, and most likely a public beta based on Google's current schedule. The same Android 11 development schedule promises a final release in the third quarter of 2020 that is consistent with recent updates to Android. Android 10 came in last year on September 3, while Android 9 Pie landed on August 6 of 2018. Android Oreo launched the year before on 21 August. We would expect to see Android 11 completed in that time period for August or September. Old school Android users, well, those around before last year may remember Google's fondness for naming its dessert mobile operating system after we had been branded with such names as Nougat, Marshmallow, Lollipop and KitKat before Pie and Oreo. That changed with Android Q or Android 10, either because Google wanted to indicate a fresh approach to its mobile operating system. Whatever the explanation for this, the latest iteration of Android is simply Android 10, and there is no reason to expect that Android 11 will go back to the standard dessert naming. Expect a comprehensive look at Android 11 in whatever form the latest Google I/O takes, with more info about what is latest with Android 11 going about from now to then. But we can get a sense of some of the consumer-facing features that will appear in the full release based on the developer tools introduced in the first two Android 11 previews. Number 1. Messaging improvements. Google has outlined a range of improvements related to communications, indicating that updates to chat would be a big focus in Android 11. For example, the new OS emphasizes chat bubbles. This will hold ongoing conversation in a convenient container. You can tap from anywhere on your phone to access them. In the Android 11 beta, there is a Bubbles API, which means third-party apps will also be able to offer that functionality. You will also be able to access conversations from the notification shade of Android 11, which adds a dedicated conversation portion. Another developer tool would allow apps with the features of copying and pasting to include the ability to let users insert images while responding to messages from the notification window. Number 2. One-time permissions. Android 11 will continue to fine-tune permissions, adding an option just this time to grant temporary access to apps like location tracking, microphone tracking, and camera. In this case, the permission expires when you stop using the device. It's a degree of precision already experienced by iOS users, so it's nice to see that it's coming to Android as well. Apparently, Android 11 will build on a feature in Android 10 that allowed users to only offer location data to apps while they were being actively used. It looks like the same feature is applied to the camera and the microphone based on the second developer preview. Number 3. Support for new screens. You may have seen a number of displays on Android devices making their way from foldable screens to front camera panels with cutouts. Android 11 introduced tools that will enable app makers to customize their apps for these various displays. Android 11 is improving the ability to detect the hinge angle in a foldable phone, so the behavior of the device may adjust accordingly. Think of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip and its flex mode, where the top half of the screen is a viewing area and the bottom half contains the controls of the program. It sounds like other foldable handsets will support similar features. Number 4. 5G support. Google is taking action with 5G wireless networks now up and running to ensure that its smartphone OS is able to take full advantage of the higher speeds and reduced latency that 5G offers. A dynamic meteredness API in Android 11 can test to see if a 5G cellular link is unmetered. If so, higher quality images and video can be accessed from your phone. Another 5G related API makes downstream and upstream bandwidth easier for users to connect. Google introduced the ability for devices to identify the kind of 5G network a phone is connected to in the second developer preview so that the output of the phone could be changed accordingly. Number 5. Faster screen refresh rates. Apps and games in Android 11 will be able to set a desired refresh time. This will allow games to take advantage of phones with displays that feature higher refresh rates, which will make gaming experiences enhanced. Number 6. Improvements aimed at streaming services. These days, more stuff are streaming like Google's own Stadia Gaming. The first frame of a stream will appear in Android 11 as soon as possible once decoding begins, which will boost efficiency for services such as Google Stadia. That's all for now. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. My name is Hamza. This is Tech Fielder, and I'll catch you in the next one.